Hello everyone, my name is Adam. I'm a professional graphic designer and animator based in Casablanca, Morocco. And I'm going to be an instructor for this course. So this course is for anyone who wants to start with logo design and have a solid understanding of the process. So we're gonna start by a general introduction to the design thinking process I work with to solve all my design problems. Then we'll see different questions you can ask during the brief to get the most information for your logo design process. I will also be addressing some common problems that you will face as a logo designer. Things like focus groups and similar looking logos. I'll show you how I generate ideas by sketching and searching on the internet. Then we'll jump to Illustrator, where I'll show you how to create different badges. We'll see different techniques for making a vector, also different techniques for making decoratives like banners and laurels. I'll show you how to choose the right fonts and pair fonts together, how to choose the right colors and work with ASC colors. Then after that, you would want to learn how to apply texture, because vintage is all about textures. From there, I'll show you how you can use images like mockups in Photoshop, because mockups are super necessary and also sometimes can be very expensive. And finally, I'll show you how to present your logo in Illustrator and InDesign. There are also some downloadable documents. One is about the course notes, very important to read, and the other one is about color associations. So by the end of this course, I am pretty much sure that you should be able to design your first professional logo. Yes, after some practice, of course. So that was all about the presentation. See you inside. In this lecture, I want to talk briefly about the process of design thinking. I'm not going to dive deep into design thinking. It's just an overview of the process that I think designers should know about. This process was published and developed by IDEO, which is a design and consulting firm based in California. So basically, they use these 5 steps, they say, to solve any design thinking problem. It could be identity design, UX design, industrial design. And every designer that works there obviously uses these steps. The 5 described steps by IDEO are as follow. The first one is empathy. So empathy is when you put yourself in the shoes of your client, so that the first interaction with the client, the brief. What you want to do here is forget about yourself, forget about your portfolio, and just be a listening machine. Just listen. Because moving forward, the brief will be like the Bible for your design. The second step is definition. So after listening to the brief, you should be able to rephrase the client's need in one sentence if possible. Something like, so you need a retro vintage kind of thing logo that conveys such and such feeling for this type of clientele. Something like this. And then we have ideation. This is the phase where you actually start generating ideas. I would say brainstorming, but brainstorming is a group thing. It's when there's a lot of you trying to generate ideas. But when you're working alone, what you will do to generate ideas is sketching or mind mapping. I'll explain those more in details in further lectures. Then you can start searching on the internet as well after you sketch or mind map. Prototype. So I know this prototype thing is a term used a lot in UX design or product design, but it's also, you can use it in logo design as well. So in this step, after gathering all the ideas from sketching and the internet, what you want to do is focus on the best ones to work on and to refine more using any design software. Last but not least, test. So once you finish with the prototype, you need to test it. You can show it to your friends or other designers that you trust. Don't go ahead and post the logo on those stupid groups on Facebook or the internet, and ask them what do they think about the logo, okay? If you don't have friends or designers that you trust, you can go ahead and contact your client and tell him that you just need to show him a couple of examples that you have ready. So you say something like, I want to show you what I came up with so far. Nothing is final. If you like something, I will go ahead and work more on it and refine it. So in this final step, what you want to do is be open for critiques, okay? And I'm talking about constructive critiques, okay? Not destructive critiques, and feedbacks, of course. So don't take anything personal. If the feedback is bad, that's okay. It happens to everybody, to the biggest agencies, to the biggest designers. Just try to understand what the problem and what needs to be done, and then restart the process from step number 4, which is prototype. It's also important to establish how many rounds the clients will get per logo or projects, because believe me, after the second revision, things start getting a little bit weird, okay? You just want to get rid of the clients, you want to save your reputation, and you wish you could pay him just so he can leave. Let's start with the brief introduction of logo design. So a logo is the face of the company. It's how people will recognize and remember the company. It should not literally describe what the business does, but rather identify the business in a way that is recognizable and memorable. Examples, you see this logo and you go, Mercedes, I know this company. So a company without a logo is a faceless company. So yes, it's very important for a company to have a logo. I also want to point out the difference between logo and a brand, because I can see that there is a lot of confusion about these two words. So a brand is the story of the company and all it represents, while the logo is the image that identifies the company. Simply put, that the logo is the face of the company, while the brand is the personality. But before you can go ahead and create a logo, you need first to identify the brand message. This way the logo has something to stand behind. So what makes a good logo? First, it must be appropriate or relevant for the company. And by appropriate, I mean the feeling of the logo to that company. For example, if it's a sports or gaming company, bold and dynamic. If it's a tech company, you want to go with a modern sort of logo kind of thing with gradients and a sans serif font. If it's something like a barber, you want to go with a vintage retro logo. I think it's the best suited one, and so on. You get the idea. It also has to be simple and memorable. For example, you see it for 3 seconds, you will remember it, okay? You should be able to explain what you just saw in 3 seconds. One more thing, it also needs to be scalable. So this must sound ironic because we're designing a vintage logo, and vintage logos are not known for being scalable. That's why it's important to ask where the logo is going to be used. If they need it to be scalable, we can create a complex version and then a light version of the logo that they can use via different applications and software. And what makes a good logo designer is someone who has a good communication skills. You need communication skills to understand what the client is looking for, and also to explain the idea behind everything that you create instead of saying just because it's beautiful and everybody's doing it. Being able to back up your choices and decision is a very good thing. Remember, you're trying to sell that logo, okay? And also remember that the logo doesn't need to be beautiful. It needs to work for that company. It's very important to understand that there are different types of logos, okay? I don't want to explain each one of them in details because it's going to take forever, but just let's go briefly over what are those types of logos. So the first one is monogram logos or letter marks. The second ones are word marks or logotypes. The third is logo symbols or pictorial marks. Fourth one is abstract logo marks. Then we have mascots, my favorite ones. We have the combination mark and then the emblem. Okay, so the emblem is one of my favorite ones. You can see that it's almost like a vintage logo. The only thing is with retro vintage logo, we add some textures to it to make it look classy and old and vintage. Okay, let's go ahead and open Illustrator. Create new. And these are the dimensions that I'm using. Okay, 1200 pixels by 1200 pixels, RGB, 300 pixel per inch, and create. So I'm going to be creating a circular badge, and the reason why I chose the circular is, as I said before, it's going to help with conveying that welcoming feeling that the client wants. So click L for the ellipse tool. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is just click, hold Shift Option or Shift Alt and drag. Release the click first and then release the Shift and Option or Shift and Alt. Give it a black fill and no stroke for now, okay? This may look so easy, but don't worry, it's gonna get harder in a bit. Okay, this is simple. So what I'm gonna do is add another badge inside of this one, okay? And the way I'm gonna do that is, again, click L for the ellipse tool, click, hold Shift and Option or Shift and Alt, drag, just like that. This time it's going to be no fill with black stroke. Increase the size a bit of the stroke. Then I'm gonna go and type M for the rectangle tool and just draw a rectangle here, just like that. V for the selection tool. Select everything. And then you can see here that there is the alignment tools that I have, or you can just click on Shift F7. You're going to open the alignments panel, and I want to align horizontal and I want to align vertical, okay? And make sure that you have align to key object selected. Okay, the next thing I'll do is to open my Pathfinder. So Shift Control or Shift Command F9 and then just unite everything. Doesn't look good, so Control or Command Z to undo. And I'm just going to expand or to increase the size of this circle just around here. I always hold Shift and Option or Shift and Alt when I'm expanding shapes so I can keep the right proportions. Then select everything again, unites, and this looks much better. Okay. Now I don't want to leave it like this, so I'm going to go ahead and add another rectangle right in the middle. So click M for the rectangle tool, draw a rectangle here, V for the selection tool, select everything, Shift F7 for the alignments panel, and again just align everything, Shift Command Control F9, unite. Okay, click A for the direct selection tool, and then I'm going to click on this parts of the rectangle, hold Shift and click on this side, the opposite side of the rectangle as well, and delete. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. V, select everything. I'll give it a lighter value just so it can contrast with this one, because I'm going to put it on top of it. Okay, that looks, once we add the colors and everything, this will look like something, don't worry. So this is the badge I think is gonna work for me. It's all about experimenting, so I'm gonna leave it like here. And then I'm gonna bring some pictures so we can build other badges. I'll open my inspiration folder, hold that picture and just drag it here. I'm just gonna fit it inside the artboard so we can reverse engineer it. So guys, I'm showing you how to build these badges, not because I want you to steal them, just because I want to show you how these are made, okay? And so we're not stealing, we're just reverse engineering. Rhymes great. And these badges belong to anyone, everyone can use them. If you go on Google and type badges logo, you'll see that these badges are being repeated over and over again. So we're really not stealing anything. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a lot of hexagon, pentagons, and some circles. What I will do is just go to my shape tool, select the polygon tool, click and drag, hold Shift, and release. I'm gonna make it black, no stroke. And then I'll have another shape, which is going to be a pentagon. So as you can see, while I'm clicking, I can hit up or down, and on my keyboard, the up arrow or down arrow, and I'm going to increase the heads or the corners of this pentagon or hexagon, whatever. Anyway, we need 5 heads for the pentagon. Hold shifts, and here we have our pentagon and hexagon. Let's start with the first batch, this one right here. So you can see this one is pretty much simple. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this one. Hold shift and rotate it 90 degrees. Switch the fill and the stroke. And you can see that it's pretty much okay. The only thing we can do, the only difference that I can see is that the upper and lower head are a bit extended than the normal one. So we can click A for the direct selection tool, click on this head and click on this head, then click on S, the scaling tool, and then just expand the horizontal heads a bit like this, okay? I can increase the stroke a bit, click on stroke, and then I'll click on this one, align stroke to outside. Always align stroke to outside, guys, when you're building shapes. And you can see that it looks exactly the same, almost exactly the same. Now, if you want to have those mountains and trees and everything, you can just add them inside. I'll show you real quick how you can do it, because I'll speak more in details about vectors and everything on later lectures. So I did a line here. Maybe I'll decrease the strokes, just like that. And then you can just grab your start tool, click and drag. Again, if you hit up or down on your keyboard, it's going to increase or decrease the heads. Down decreases, up increases. So I need a normal triangle. Hold shifts. Fill with black. You know, I just want to show you real quick how we can just start building our logos from, from nothing. And here I have it. I have my mountains here. I can increase the size, hold shifts and increase the size a bit of the mountains. I can grab my pen tool, fill with whites, and then just, add some shadows. See, just like that. I'll bring it here. So I'm just showing you guys real quick how you can start building your badge logos. And then just, I'm gonna click V here and make it white. Make it shadows. Make it black. And then I can just hold Alt or Option, hold Alt Option and Shift and just drag down. Click Alt Option, drag down, and the final one, drag down. This one I may increase the width of it, so hold Alt and drag from the side. So I'm just gonna select those, boom, boom, bring them down a little bit, just like that. Select everything, Shift Command or Shift Control F9, unite, increase the stroke a little bit and give it a white color, right? And then I can just duplicate on the side by holding Alt and dragging. Alt and Shift, of course. I'll grab this one, right click, range, bring forward. That's enough. Or you can just click on Control and right bracket. Okay, that better. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab this line, Shifts control or shifts command, right bracket, and now you can see it jumped right in front of my vectors. I'll bring it up a little bit because I need it to cover the white stroke of the trees. And here you have it, you know. I'm just gonna bring those a little bit, oops, select those and make them smaller than the mountains. Hold the shifts, you know, because mountains are bigger than trees. Just using some logic here. And there you have it, man, you know, just like that, man. The sun. Then you can start adding your type. You can fill this thing with black using just the pen tool, P for the pen tool. No stroke, fill with black. And then just, you know what I'm saying, man, right? You see, we have our logo and I didn't even have to draw anything. Now you can add type here and stuff and just fill it around and you will have something looking like this, okay? That's reverse engineering, guys. Now, I just wanted to show you how quickly you can build a logo just using, you know, shapes and alignments and logic, stuff like that.